This SoonerScoop.com video is streaming in crystal clear 4K resolution on YouTube thanks to Enjoy Vision in Oklahoma City. Don't miss a moment on or off the field. Make every day a highlight with LASIK at Enjoy Vision. Enjoy Vision. This is where Sooner Scoop LASIKs.
Hello and welcome back. Eddie Radosevich, George Stoy here for the SoonerScoop.com studios. It is a Monday. We enter week 2 for the Oklahoma Sooners preseason football practice. Went out to practice again today after about an hour on Friday. We were out there for probably 45, 50 minutes today.
Somewhere around there.
Maybe a little bit too much.
Over 30.
Either way, not as much action as maybe that we got on Friday, but did get some one-on-one stuff that I thought was really interesting. Yep. George, welcome into the program. How was the weekend?
It was great. Very relaxing weekend. Didn't do a whole lot.
Good. We got football ahead. Tuesday night got Hard Knocks on. Buffalo Bills.
I didn't know that.
If you're into that. My thing with Hard Knocks is I watch the first 3 weeks pretty religiously, and then we get into the full swing of football, and I kind of forget it's on and don't watch the last 2 episodes. But I'm excited for it.
I do like the Bills.
Preseason football at the end of the week here. And before we know it, we'll be talking about Oklahoma, Illinois State. Oklahoma went over to the rugby field. I think that's always kind of like the sign that preseason football has officially begun, or preseason camp has officially begun. We'll get into everything that we saw out at practice today. I know that Bob Brisbillo's already put up some notes when we left on Monday boarding. Just a kind of a general overview of everything that we saw. I know you were with the wide receivers today. I spent a lot of time with some of the defensive guys, defensive end, defensive tackle, linebacker as well, and get into all of that. You can see the sights and sounds up on the SoonerScoop.com YouTube channel right here, as we had the one on Friday as well, and we'll get into everything that we kind of saw out there at OU football practice this afternoon. Before we get to that, let us tell you about our good friends over at Poncho Outdoors. We've been doing that, and Carrie, actually, let me grab it here. I'm gonna take this off the. We already got it. We already got the stuff. Carrie got his shirt in. I'm excited to get my stuff in as well. Coming up, feel that.
Wow, that's
feel that and let me tell them about it.
Very breathable.
Performance fabric, amazing fit, and more features than a Swiss Army knife. Poncho makes the ultimate outdoor performance short for men. Got the original, the Western, the ultralight, the denim as well. I got a couple of the Western looks coming in the mail. All you got to do to get your own Poncho Outdoors is go to ponchooutdoors.com/SoonerScoop for $10 off your first order. That's PONCHO outdoors.com/SoonerScoop for $10 off and free shipping. Go try one out today. I know that you have a hat coming in as well. We're going to be looking good. I really like some of this poncho stuff, and depending on, had to make sure that the size fit right, and then we'll be getting more for the season to come. Thank you to ponchooutdoors.com. All right, let's get into it. We were out there on Monday morning. As I said, they moved over to the rugby field. We did get to see some one-on-ones today. They started practice with that today.
Yeah, it was awesome. Kind of gets the guys fired up. A very competitive portion. It was only, what would you say, 5 to 10 minutes?
Probably so, yeah. It's probably about 5 to 10.
10-ish reps, maybe, I would say. But it was good. There were some guys that really stood out. I know we have quite a few clips, so I don't know what order they're in, but it was fun to see some of the guys go out. I know Keontez Lewis had a couple really nice catches. Who's this here? That's Keontez Lewis.
That's Keontez Lewis. The one that's been debated online if he got his foot in. I think this first one, he might have been out, but it nonetheless was still a really good catch. And a guy that I think that we're going to talk about here later, because we talked to him after practice, really seems to be having a good camp.
Yeah, he's had a really great camp. He's somebody we didn't get to see a ton of in the spring just because he was dealing with a groin and then a hamstring injury. And I know that he spent a lot of time with John Mateer this summer kind of working on certain things.
Jacob Jordan working a little bit. We kind of forget about him with all the new wide receiver bodies.
Dude, he's just kind of one of those guys that just kind of balls out, No
doubt about it. One of the newer additions to the program there, 84, Jermichael Carter going against Jeremiah Newcomb, number 21.
He's another name that continues to come up to have an opportunity this year. And I think it's because, one, they've got a lot of youth in that room, not a ton of experience, but he made a nice play on that ball.
Michael Boganowski going against Carson Kent. The tight end position showing a little pop today. As you'll see, Caden Helms coming up as well. Had a really nice route here against Omarion Robinson.
That might have been the best route of the day from Caden Helms. And, I know that there's been a lot of talk about him potentially helping Oklahoma. We'll see if he can stay healthy this fall. But that was certainly a really nice route. And, look, Omarion Robinson, true freshman, going to have some of those moments.
No doubt about it. I think you're going to get another angle here of the Caden Helms reception. A little bit more separation than you could tell from the backside video. Andrew West, our guy out there, getting some extra video as well. Kip Lewis going against Taylor Tatum.
No, this is Jaden Ott.
Or Jaden Ott, excuse me. 8 and 0 are going to give me a lot of problems this year.
And that was good coverage by Kip, but I think that's a ball that Ott would want back.
No doubt about it. Maybe the wide receiver that has turned the most heads here through the first day, couple days of practice, even though he wasn't able to come down with that. Maybe the best defensive play today, Robert Spears-Jennings going against Will Huggins today. And you can see Will Huggins' size there.
Yeah, he's huge. And Robert kind of bodied him a bit. Will Huggins is definitely not somebody that's going to beat you with his feet. So I think that Robert kind of had a bit of an advantage there. And Will needs to use a bit more of his size. But Will's also a guy that I think Eddie's going to be mostly I think blocking for Oklahoma. There's Keontae Lewis. That's the other one. They do give him this touchdown.
The game ender, if you will. I guess.
And that's great. That's Cortland Guillory. That is really good coverage.
I know that we talked to Davon Jordan today. He had very high praise for the freshman quarterback, Cortland Guillory.
Yeah, I think Cortland can end up playing a lot for him. I mean, this is just Keontae Lewis. I mean, that's a tough catch, man. And Keontae, he's a much older guy. Cortland's obviously very young. Keontae, I think, is like 22, 23 years old. This is his 4th or 5th year of playing college football. I think we got one more clip here.
Keontae Lewis, another guy that we heard from after practice. We'll recap everything that was said after practice at a post-practice report you can see here on the SoonerScoop.com YouTube channel. I know that there was a lot that went into today's practice. You spent a lot of time over at the wide receiver position. Emmett Jones, obviously, they're going to get a lot of talk here over the next month. Who's going to be one of those guys that can jump out? Deion Burks, inactive today.
Yes, yeah. He was in shorts. You can see him right there, actually. He was not practicing. I was told that it's he kind of had a bit of a flare-up with his back. I don't think it's anything serious. They expect him to be back maybe even in the next couple of days.
Certainly, if you were putting together a group of guys that are going to be like basically put in bubble wrap over the next 29, 28 days, he would fit that mold of somebody. You know what he can do on the field. You just got to get him there.
Yeah, certainly. And I think that he's somebody that, look, he had the injury history last year. If he tweaks something, you might as well, try and, give him a day off. And I think that was kind of the thought process here.
Number 17 there, as you see on the screen, Josiah Barton, somebody that, I'll be honest, hadn't really thought about going into this season. What kind of stuck out with you in the wide receiver position? I know that you spent a lot of time over there today.
Yeah, it was definitely Kearney. I think that his physical size, he just looks much more mature. His body, looks better than it did a year ago. I think Keontae Lewis is somebody, that I think physically looks good. Jermichael Carter, super tall. I think he could still put on about 10 more pounds. But I like that group. I think that they've got several guys. They were missing several guys today that I think are going to be contributors. Deion Burks, Giovanni Gibson, who I know John Mateer talked highly of after practice as well. They hope to get him back maybe by the beginning of the season or at least early in the season. So
it seems like everything's going to plan, though, for Giovanni Gibson coming back from injury.
It definitely seems like that. I mean,
he was out there today. Obviously
he's not wearing a brace or anything,
right?
And nothing on his leg or a boot or anything like that. So you would assume he's getting close. He's very engaged. I know Mateer said today that he's been a part of some of the walkthroughs that they've been doing after practice, which is great to hear. That means that he's probably getting close and is at least expecting to play once he gets back.
We had a bunch of rain overnight, so getting around the fields today over at the rugby field, you got kind of messy, I think is probably the best way to say it. There was a lot of mud out there, but I did spend a lot of time with the defensive end group, and we talked to Miguel Chavis after practice. I think everybody's going to really enjoy what he had to say about his position group. Bob Przybylos already wrote about it on SoonerScoop.com, just kind of the ins and outs of a group that seems to be, on paper, one of the best groups that Miguel Chavis has had since arriving to Norman.
They've got tremendous depth on paper. I think that you know what you've got in R. Mason Thomas, but you look at guys like PJ Adebawore, Taylor Wine, obviously has been the story of the summer. Danny Okoye, I think Miguel Chavis called him a monster today, and that he's going to be somebody everybody's going to know about soon. You look at them out there, and they just look like an incredible group. They might be one of their best looking groups in terms of their physical nature that they have out there. I mean, Marvin Jones Jr. Is a massive human. And I really like this group, Eddie. I think that they've got a lot of potential. Now they kind of have to go out and prove it this year.
Danny Okoye, certainly one of those guys. Marvin Jones Jr., who, there was a lot of talk with Miguel Chavis today about development. He's one of the guys that they obviously got into the portal. But when you're talking about just pure.
I mean, look at Danny
development.
Okoye there.
There's Danny Okoye, PJ
awesome.
Adebore. Those are two guys that I came away from today feeling a little bit better about, just from not only hearing from Miguel Chavis, but just hearing the natural progression that they've made over the last couple months.
Yeah, look, you're going to see a lot of our Mason Thomas this year. I think you're going to see a lot of Taylor Wine, and I think you're going to see a lot of Marvin Jones Jr. And then I think it's, one of Danny Okoye or PJ Adebore to kind of finish out that 4-man rotation. And I think you'll probably see both of them at times this year, but I think they want those guys to go out and prove it early in the year, earn some more playing time. Because like I said, I think they kind of have those top 3 guys, and they obviously have to stay healthy, so they're going to have to rely on guys like PJ and Danny at some point. I think for them, it's just about going out and proving themselves. And I mean, look, they're athletic freaks, both those guys. I think for them, it's about honing that in and understanding what they're asking them to do. I think the mental part is still starting to maybe click for them, and that can take some time. So we'll see. I think both of them are going to get on the field, but I think right now, Eddie, at least it feels to me that it's R. Mason Thomas, Taylor Wine, Marvin Jones Jr., and then those 2 guys.
If you want to see the entire Miguel Chavis interview from post practice, you can see that on the SoonerScoop.com editorial page. Let's go up a level. Let's go to the linebackers. Spend a little bit of time with Nate Dreiling today as he moves into his first year in Norman. Obviously, you got the 3. You got Kobe McKenzie, you got Kip Lewis, you got Samuel Masigo. It's going to be about what are those other guys going to do? And, God forbid that one of these guys goes out and has an injury early in the season. You feel good about that 3. Who's going to be that next guy kind of thing?
Well, you see my guy Owen Heineke out there, 38. Honestly,
it kind of feels like he's going to play a little bit.
I know it does. But I do like this group, Eddie. Again, I don't know how much depth is there, but they look the part. I mean, look, you've got 2 great players right there in Kip Lewis and Kobe McKenzie. I think the move to inside for Samuel Omosigo, you see him there, number 7. I think that's going to be a really good move for him. I know I wrote a story this past weekend that you can read on Soonerscoop.com. Kobe kind of talking about Sammy and him, kind of battling with him for that Mike starting spot. I think Sammy is somebody that could certainly play a huge role this year. Kendall Daniels, I'm interested to hear from him. Maybe we can talk to him later this week. He's playing both inside and cheetah. What is that like? They want to get him on the field in some capacity. It's just where is that going to be? So it's an interesting group. I didn't even mention James Nesta or Taylor Heim, who, Taylor Heim was somebody we were talking about, and you see him here on the screen. He was having a great spring, so you wonder, can he find a role on the field as well? There's only so many spots that can play, but I know that they've lost Danny Stutzman, but it does feel like athletically and on paper, kind of a lot like defensive end.
Sure.
They've got a lot of guys they feel comfortable playing.
No doubt about it. There's a number of guys on the defensive line they're going to play. Spent a little bit of time with Todd Bates this morning. They were going through some walkthrough stuff, so from a video perspective, probably not the best. But I think the point remains kind of what we've talked about here through the last couple of weeks. You look at that 4-headed monster attack of Grayson Halton, Dominic Williams, Jaden Jackson, David Stone. They all 4 certainly look the part.
Yeah, and Grayson Halton's missed the early parts of camp.
Sure.
He's dealing with a hamstring injury, but the rest of that group, also Marcus Strong, I think he's dealing with a little bit of a knee issue. He was out running sprints today.
He was at least working out, right?
Which, when they start running sprints, that means, hey, we're trying to ramp you back in, getting into condition and those sorts of things. So he's close, but I like that group. We've talked a lot about him. Dominic Williams, I think coming back was a huge deal for Oklahoma because, again, you look at his stats from a year ago, and they don't jump out on the page, but he was a really important player for OU. Jaden Jackson, I heard he today, Eddie, had a really good day in practice.
Well, I mean, just look at him. I almost get mystified sometimes looking at him. He's just he's a power ball is what he is. I mean, it's incredible.
And then, after that, it's like, what can David Stone be? And here you see him on the screen. It's just what kind of leap can he make in his second year? Because he's going to play a lot more. You lose Dejon Terry, you add in David Stone. It's how much can he play? How ready will he be?
What about this guy right here? Nigel Smith. Somebody, and maybe not somebody that's going to be a contributor in 2025 as much as on into the future, but if something were to happen to a Grayson Halton, Nigel Smith was kind of that guy that got bumped up today, 6'5", 260, obviously moving inside from defensive end.
He's at 290 now.
Or 290, excuse me.
Yes, yeah. I was about to say 260 is light. That's what he was when he was playing defensive end.
They need to update the roster.
They need to update the roster.
What that tells me. Dominic Williams, kind of the when we're talking about like our Mason Thomas at the defensive end position, I think of Dominic Williams a little bit in the same manner as you kind of know what you're going to get from him day in and day out. Obviously, sky's the limit for that group. It feels like a very, very good group alongside Miguel Chavis's group, which leads us to the offensive line. And Andrew West was over there spending a little bit of time with the offensive line today. Febechi Wewu was back at practice. No concern there, as we reported on Friday. That was a personal issue that he had to miss on. But certainly, once again, looks like a group that is taking those next steps.
Yeah, and they got to stay healthy. That's a key. Febechi was back out there. Again, that was a personal thing he had going on. Derek Simmons missing from practice today. It sounds like he had an upper body injury on Saturday in practice. You can read more about that at Soonerscoop.com. But I like this group, Eddie. I just don't know who's it going to be, who's going to emerge. I think some of these guys have to really assert themselves over the next couple weeks to earn these jobs. It sounds like some of the young bucks are coming for some of these jobs. Ryan Foje, I think, is really pushing for a starting job, maybe at right guard. I think Michael Fasusi has good days and bad days, just like any true freshman, but obviously has a lot of potential. Jake Taylor has filled in over at the right tackle spot with Derek Simmons out. So it's a very interesting group, Eddie, that I think they have a lot of depth. It's just on Bill Beatenbow now to figure out who's my best five and where are all these guys playing. Because a lot of these guys, I mentioned Derek Simmons. He can play guard if you really wanted him to. Jacob Sexton can play guard if you want him to. You have Jake Michaela, who could maybe be like a swing guard. I know he's getting a lot of reps at second-team center, but I think he could also play guard. Troy Everett's played guard in his past. So you've got a lot of, mixing and matching with your pieces. Right now, it feels like it's Sexton, Eddie Pierre-Louis, Everett, Febechi, and Derek Simmons when he's healthy. After that, I don't know. And could any of those guys end up losing their starting job? You just don't know. The biggest thing for me, Eddie, if they can walk out of fall camp as an offensive line group and have, just about everybody healthy other than maybe one or two guys, you got to feel a lot better than you did last year where you're walking in, you already had about 4 guys injured, and 3 of them were basically at the same position.
Who could forget running out, who was it, Tarquin that was playing basically with or it was Garen Hatchett that was playing with a torn bicep.
Tarquin was dealing with the knee thing. Jake Taylor got hurt, remember, at the end of camp and played through the pain.
He was playing it through that, I think it was the Houston game, and I was just like, this is not good.
No,
he's injured. He looks injured.
There was a point last year where they had it was like a walk-on center that was like 280 pounds that he was the next guy up. And they thought he was going to have to play week 1 of the season. So you just do not want to run into that type of situation again.
As we said, full sights and sounds up here on the Soonerscoop.com YouTube channel. We'll get into all the post-practice stuff in a separate practice report. Heard from John Mateer today, as well as Miguel Chavis, Keontae Lewis, and a guy that I think it was the first time that we had talked to him.
Correct.
Since the, I guess, the initial, and I don't even think it was. We never talked to him, did we?
I don't think he was available at that.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
It was good to talk to him, as well as Kip Lewis and Reggie Powers, who continues to have a really good camp. So plenty more to wrap up in the post-practice report, or the practice report, here on the Soonerscoop.com YouTube channel. But that was kind of everything that we saw out there on Monday. We'll be back out there on Wednesday to see a little bit more. Hopefully get a little bit more action, if you will, outside of the other stuff. But
let us see a scrimmage.
Yeah, just let us in for a scrimmage.
Yeah.
Just one. Just
Stream
me and
it
George.
live.
Doesn't even have to be everybody. Just me and George. I will say, they work a lot on special teams during camp. During practice, and that's not necessarily something that they didn't do a year ago, but it's something that Doug Deacon definitely, I think, it's his moment there at the beginning of practice.
Yeah, and look, they were a pretty good special teams unit last year. They had some missed kicks here and there, but in terms of kick coverage and things like that, they were pretty good. One thing to note on that too, I don't know if you've watched it, Jaden Ott taking first team reps on kickoff returns.
Interesting. That always makes me kind of nervous.
I know, it makes me nervous too. He was damn good at it at Cal.
Interesting. All right. That's going to do it for a little bit of a breakdown from Oklahoma's Monday morning practice. And George and I will be back talking about everything that happened after practice with a bunch of the players, as well as Miguel Chavis. George Toya, Eddie Radosevich. We'll see you next time here on the Soonerscoop.com YouTube channel.